You saw the headline? A public figure's name shows up over 1,000 times in 3 million files. Sounds damning, right? But here's the catch. Most entries are clippings, clerical notes, and unvetted tips the DOJ itself calls untrue and sensationalist at times. We're doing a 6-part audit that separates proximity from participation. You'll get a crisp timeline from 90s party circuit vibes to a very real security ban, plus what the FBI actually did with those raw tips, and what they didn't. Stay, because the volume of mentions isn't the verdict. The receipts are. Number 1, Donald Trump socialized with Jeffrey Epstein in the 1990s. You've seen the photos, New York and Palm Beach, velvet ropes, 2 guys in the same rooms. Looks like a partnership, right? That's the vibe the snapshots sell. Same step and repeats, same gala backdrops, same charity circuits where real estate money and finance money swirled under chandeliers. But here's the catch. Being on the same guest list is not the same as sharing a ledger. Who invited whom? How often? For what? The 90s scene ran on club memberships, charity tables, and page 6 oxygen. Palm Beach had a rotating cast. Socialites, media, athletes, and anyone throwing a fundraiser with a decent band. You showed up because that was the marketplace for status. Half the night was public. Photographers, donors, staff, and a pecking order you could practically see from the valet line. So here's the thing. Timelines from credible roundups place both men at overlapping events through that decade, with on-record chatter about socializing. But the interactions we can actually place are public-facing, not covert. No criminal allegations attached to those early sightings in official case records. The paper trail reads like light social overlap. No joint ventures, no shared ops, nothing that looks like a business alliance. So, if the photos don't prove partnership, what does 1,000 mentions in the files actually mean? Number 2, Trump's name appears in Epstein-related files. 1,000+ hits in a federal document pool sounds like a siren. Volume equals guilt. Or does it? Big names generate echoes. Every reference, forward, or scrap gets indexed. It looks huge because the net is huge. But here's the catch. Most hits are clippings, clerical notes, and raw tips the DOJ flags as unvetted. So how do we weigh that? Start with document types. You've got packeted news articles someone saved, email forwards with subject lines like FYI, redacted tip line entries that read like a friend of a friend said, and interview memos where an agent logs third-hand chatter. None of that by itself proves conduct. Databases inflate mentions for public figures because every recycled article, every duplicate scan, every admin cover sheet repeats the name. Think of it like a stadium chant, loud, repetitive, and not new information. One memo might cite Trump only in an administrative header or as context, not as evidence. Major outlets summarized this pattern and noted how many entries were unverified tips and routine materials. The DOJ frames inclusion as not equal to credibility. Number 3, no confirmed Epstein flight records for Trump. The internet loves a flight log. It's the true crime boarding pass. So, where's Trump's seat number? Rumors swear it's tucked in a manifest, circled in red, living rent-free in some grainy PDF. Sounds spicy. But every credible roundup that tallies the actual authenticated passenger lists comes back the same. No confirmed Epstein flight records list Trump as a passenger. Let's break down how these lists work. Manifests are created by flight crews for tail numbers, dates, and passengers. Chain of custody matters, originals, certified copies, filings tied to investigations or court records. That's why, in cases that moved forward, prosecutors leaned on manifests with dates, crew names, and corroborating logs. Some names appear across multiple legs and match maintenance records or pilot logs. That's evidence courts can test. Now the viral screenshots. Cropped images, mismatched fonts, no tail number, no date, no source. If you can't trace it to a filing or a sworn statement, it's content, not evidence. Courts treat loose sheets like gossip taped to a lamppost. Number 4. Trump later distanced himself from Epstein. Every bad deal has a walk-away moment. So when did Trump start backing out of the Epstein orbit? The public vibe says always close, but timelines tell a drift story. Quick smiles in the 90s, then cooler air in the 2000s as headlines heated up. Here's the catch. Early overlap was social, public, and shallow. Then the arc bends. By the mid-2000s, their paths cross less in the places that used to feed Page 6. As scandals simmered, you see fewer repeat cameos and more separate lanes. Different parties, different hosts, different circles. That's what distancing looks like in real life. Fewer shared rooms, not louder denials. Let's map it clean. Friendly overlap in the 90s. Reported falling out energy in the following decade. By the time reporters and agents start pulling threads later, you get accounts that read like non-events, short interactions, nothing advancing into misconduct. FBI 302-style summaries and media recaps echo the same theme. Tips that go nowhere, interviews that end with nothing happened, and no new proximity popping up in later years. Mini payoff. This looks like an early social link that cooled, not a long alliance. The exit ramp shows up years before the legal collapse. And then came a hard stop that left paperwork, a club-level security move. Number 5, Epstein was barred from Mar-a-Lago. Talk is cheap. Security logs and bans are receipts. Did Mar-a-Lago actually block Epstein? That's the claim. And if it happened, that's not gossip. That's a concrete gate slam. Some say it's lore. Others treat it like the exact pivot point. So what do credible sources and internal notes suggest? Reports describe a club-level action. Management tells security, do not admit, and the name goes on a list. In a private club, that's serious. You don't get past the guardhouse. Your key card, if you had one, gets deactivated. Staff get briefed. If you try to roll up again, the front desk calls security, not valet. Here's the catch. Private clubs enforce bans with boring but effective tools, membership rules, guest logs, and access control. If you cross a line, you get flagged in the system and barred from events, dining rooms, and the pool deck. That reads like distancing in the real world, not performative outrage. Claims of ongoing closeness don't square with the standing "do not enter" order. Mini payoff. A reported security ban is a concrete decoupling move. That's not how a partnership behaves. Final question. After all the leaks and legal battles, where did prosecutors land? Number 6. No charges or judgments against Trump from Epstein cases. When the dust settles, the only paperwork that decides guilt is simple. Charging documents and court judgments. No press clips, no rumor mills. Just the filings that say, "We can prove this," and the orders that say, "The court agrees." Raw tips and 1,000 mentions feel heavy. But prosecutors need more than vibes. Leads get logged, claims get checked. If they don't corroborate, they don't become charges. That's the whole ballgame. Let's break it down. The DOJ/FBI sifted a giant pool, millions of pages, thousands of media files. Plenty of tips were anonymous, secondhand, or contradictory. The department has called parts of that pile untrue and sensationalist. And that's why most of it stays as investigative noise. High-profile stories that floated around didn't get filed into indictments against Trump in Epstein-related cases. Why? They lacked corroboration, witness reliability, or admissible evidence. That's the difference between a lead and a litigated fact. One lives in a memo, the other survives a judge. So here's the thing. No charges, no judgments. In court, proximity loses to proof. Let that sink in. It's real. It's happening.